I'm not sure if you actually ended up watching it in the end, Childhood 2.0.
I watched it, and I watched it with my son. I watched it with my 9. Yeah, no, I let him watch it. I did. Again, let's give some context. So my 9-year-old son is he's a highly intelligent individual. So he is able to make sense of very big concepts. So I needed to watch it because I wanted to watch it so that we could have a discussion about it on the show tonight. And I asked him, did he want to watch it with me? And I said, if it gets too full on, we stop it and whatever. But there were themes in that documentary that I allowed him to watch because I thought it was important. And we had we talked about it. Like I mean, I'm going off in a bit of a tangent, but I think sometimes we shelter our kids from too much. And when we shelter them,
kind of the overarching theme of that doco, really.
Yeah, when we shelter them from I'm saying when we shelter them from things in the world, you shut down the opportunity for conversation. And I think that was one of the most important things that came out of that documentary for me is the importance you got to talk to your kids. You got to be legit with your kids. And the thing is, they know. All right, I'm sorry. The documentary was Childhood 2.0, social media dangers, and it's on YouTube for anyone that wants to tune in. I would say definitely watch it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's raging about the whole social dilemma on Netflix.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, it kind of just told me what I already knew. It's like, they're following you and using your data, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty.
This is old news. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the great line I did like out of that? There's only 2 people who refer to them their clients as users: drug dealers and social media. Oh, that was a very good line, actually.
Brilliant.
But the Childhood 2.0 really demonstrates that real correlation between drugs and addiction and social media. But boy, oh boy, was that a really revealing documentary, like looking at what and giving us the perspective of what we grew up in versus what the kids of today
Isn't it sad? It's really sad.
The disconnection, like even so, the one that was really revealing to me was just how attached to these devices basically that the device is them, right? That's the way I would explain it.
It's like a limb.
Yeah, and when they were starting to talk about, so for example, some really confronting topics in the lines of like the worst one was around that grooming stuff that was happening. Man, that was intense. Like,
do you want to just elaborate for the listeners, like what that actually was?
Yeah, so there's an organization called BARC. I don't know what the acronym stands for, but literally I think they're an NFP of some kind, and they set themselves up basically as a pseudo intelligence agency to protect children. Is the way I would.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And they would set up fake profiles of underage girls, and man, like there was this example of one where they set it up, and I think it was a 15-year-old girl clearly stated on the profile, and then within seconds, like dudes would start messaging him, and you're like, to the point where it's like, man, like this is intense. What is wrong with these perverts?
What about the 8-year-old? The really, really young one. Now, what I didn't understand about that, what I didn't really get. So yes, you're right. So this incredible organization, what they've done, they're all parents, and they are making these false profiles. So they want to catch out the predators. And one of the Instagram profiles was a really young girl, like she was like 8 or maybe even 7, like very, very young. So what were they doing? Were they putting hashtags or something so that the predators would
Oh, I didn't really understand how
They must have, because how else would they have
found them?
Yeah.
But taking, so that was probably the most confronting part of it, like just to understand that, oh man, like you've got a young girl, I've got a young girl.
Yeah.
Like to understand, well, how do you, with that knowledge in hand, how do you balance, you know, the ability to be part of what the world is now while still making them aware? And I think it is that point of always being open and honest. Like open book. You can tell me anything. I will not get angry at you for anything, because nothing that you do at your age is ever your fault. That's just the reality.
Yeah, right? It's not. Like, and I love that my son, same child, the 9-year-old, a few weeks ago, he came to me and he said, "Look, Mum, there's something I want to tell you. I'm really scared." And I'm like, "Dude, you just tell me, okay, and we'll sort it out together." And I'm so glad that he already knows, hang on, I've done the wrong thing, but I'm going to tell her. And it's actually going to be, like, I didn't need to tell him that. Or obviously that's already been poured into him, his whole upbringing. And that's another thing that I'm so passionate about, is when I say we've got to talk to our kids, it's not one conversation where we sit them down and say, "You can tell me anything, we love you, da da da." You got to tell them every day, multiple times a day, because that one conversation is not going to do anything. It's got to be the culture in your household, right? So he came to me and he told me that he'd been looking at pornography on YouTube, right? And I said to him, "I'm so proud of you, man. Like, the courage that it took for you to come and tell me and expose yourself like that. It's obviously not, oh, Mum, I broke a cup. Like, it's something pretty serious." And I said, you know, pretty much, but I framed it differently, but exactly what you're saying. It's actually not your fault. It is your fault if you continue from now that we've had the discussion and you keep going back, now we've got a problem, right? But the fact that you were curious and it was so readily available to you and XYZ, that's actually not your fault. I actually understand that, you know, you're at an age where you kind of curious about things, like you want to understand things and whatever, you know. And I was just so proud of him. I was so proud that he just knew that he was able to do that, and we were going to have a reasonable two-way discussion.
Did you understand the path of what took him to that?
Just he knows how to type sex. That's the path, man.
So that's all. Like, he was just he'd learned about sex and then was like curious and wanted to find out more.
Cousin, it's everywhere. Sex is everywhere. It doesn't matter whether you're watching. It's on every. It's like the lyrics in just pop music and just on the radio now. Even if they edit the swear words, the content, it's all there. Any show that is like PG is a joke now. PG is an absolute joke. PG is what M would have been out in our day. Like PG now is like full-blown swearing. Right?
You can drop the F-bomb in PG.
Probably not the F-bomb, but everything else is there. PG, absolutely. I can't remember what movie it was, but yeah, we watched one recently and it's all there. Love scenes are there. My kids know what sex is. They know what it is. Like, we've had the discussion. I mean, we've had to talk to them about it way too early, but we've had to like get.
I explained to someone, like, well, I think not someone, Annie, when we were watching, I was like, I didn't really even care about girls until I was like 14 years old. Like,
yeah,
I don't really, like, it wasn't like I'm not even wondering about what sex was, or even before that. Like, in fact, it's like, sex, what's that? Kind of, yeah, I don't care.
I tell you what, like, the promiscuity now is rife. And my kids go to a good, clean school, and it's still in pockets. you know. So you've got to just be ahead of the 8 ball, and you've got to be able to have these discussions openly and take the what's the word I'm looking for? Anesthesia's mess with my head, man, big time. Take the novelty off it. You got to take the novelty off and just neutralize it. Just go, this is what it is, you know. And also, like, circling back.
And everything depicted out there is not reality. That's the other thing.
It's not reality.
And I think that's one of the things that I kind of got from that childhood photographer. I know just the way that adolescents sort of entering into the world of connection between the sexes, and it's like they're hooking up before they're not even talking in real person.
No.
It's like, hey, yeah, I like you. Yeah. Can you show me your boobs?
Yeah, and that's it.
Here's a dick pic that you never asked for.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like,
that poor girl, she goes, it was 8 o'clock in the morning, and I wake up and I'm like, whoa, I'm not even awake yet. Yeah. But circling back to your question, you go, how do you mediate that, you know, when it's everywhere and you can't escape it? Mm-hmm. I think, you know, talking to your kid, you got to talk to your kids. That's number one. Number two, parents need to grow a pair. Okay, these kids they don't have the money to go out and get these phones. The parents are buying them phones.
Mm.
So the parents need to grow a pair, and they need to go, you know what? Nah, you're not having a phone.
I mean, technically, you can't get bullied if you don't have a phone. Because that was the part I was like, man, like the stuff around suicide was so depressing. Like,
it was devastating, man. It was devastating.
Wasn't something like 1 million and something kids in America in a year period had admitted themselves for either psychological or self-harm or
suicide attempts.
Suicide attempt. 1 million.
Yeah.
And
did you see the correlation between the increase in suicide in direct proportionate directly related to social media. The rise of social media.
So it's interesting. We did a topic, probably one of our first ones around, is social media good or bad? I got to tell you what, right now.
Yes, we did.
Hey, listen. Now I have 100% swung towards the bad side.
Look, I still love social media, but I'm a 44-year-old woman who knows how to handle myself and knows how to handle her accounts. Right? But so it's two different discussions. And I am a marketing person as well. I'm an advertising person. So for me, there is an element of entertainment in social media for me, I will admit, right? However, when you're talking about kids, that is a different discussion. And I don't think they need to be anywhere near it. They don't need it.